Lowe's. Find the right flooring for the job in Lowe's newly redesigned flooring showroom. Shop our expanded assortment of trusted brands and get up to 35% off style selections, Stainmaster, and Stainmaster Pet Protect Special Order Carpet. And while you're here, save $100 on a DeWalt 20-volt max 6-amp-hour 2-pack of batteries. Now just $179. Get more of what you need faster and save more where it counts from the ground up. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 8/26 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
This episode is brought to you by Welch's Fruit Snacks. Back to school season can be tough on parents, but choosing a snack you and your kids can both get behind doesn't have to be. Stock up on Welch's Fruit Snacks, made with whole fruit and now made with no artificial dyes. It's a snack kids already love and one you can feel good about giving them. Go back to school with Welch's Fruit Snacks, now made with no artificial dyes.
Hey guys, it's Cara and welcome back to Make Space. So if you didn't know, the podcast is relaunching. There will be new episodes dropping on May 10th. I'm beyond excited and the lineup of guests is wild. It's going to be back and better than ever. This time we're doing video. I'm actually working on an entire podcast studio just for this. So it's going to be amazing. And in anticipation of that, I thought I would re-release 3 of my very favorite episodes. Out of all 70-something that we've done, I'm picking my top 3 to reshare with some new content. There's some never before heard exclusive Q&A that we didn't include in the original episode. So I thought it would be really fun to reshare these episodes as we lead into the new season so that you can binge them, or if you're new to the show, you can catch up on just my favorite episodes. So today I'm re-releasing one of my very favorite conversations with Hilton Carter, who is a plant and interior stylist, artist, and author. He loves making things with his hands, and he's really, really passionate about plants. His home is filled with hundreds of thriving plants. It literally looks like an amazing urban jungle. He's been featured all kinds of places like HGTV, Apartment Therapy, The Rachel Ray Show, Dwell, and many, many more. He has had a line with Target, which you might have seen in store. And I wanted to amplify this conversation because Hilton Carter literally changed my entire approach when it comes to incorporating plants in my space. I, years ago, literally couldn't keep anything alive. I thought I was watering them enough. Every single plant I bought died. And I wanted a really specific aesthetic to incorporate plants into my spaces, but I was approaching it all wrong. I was approaching plants as like a decor piece instead of a living thing that needed care and sunlight, which sounds so simple, but I feel like it's a trap a lot of us fall into as there's different plant trends. And, you buy a plant with the highest of hopes that it's going to thrive, and then you probably don't know where to place it in your house so that it gets what it needs, as well as being good decor and looking really good. So Hilton has written 3 books, which I will link in the show notes, and I totally encourage you to buy because they're just beautiful and really, really good plant inspiration and really good tips for how to actually bring nature into your spaces. We did this interview just shortly before his second book came out. So if you hear us mentioning the book and saying it's almost out, it's already out and you can buy it today. So this episode has our original interview as well as an exclusive Q&A that wasn't included in the original episode. So let's dive into this chat with Hilton Carter.
Hello.
Hello, Hilton. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Of course. So excited to have you on. It's been a long time coming, and now's the perfect time. Can we just dive into your background a little and talk about your story and how you became a plant and interior stylist?
Sure, of course. What would you like to know? How far would you like to go back?
As far as you want, but I guess just kind of like how you kind of got into plants, maybe the pivotal moment in terms of like, I love plants.
I love plants. Well, I would say that came about around the time I was living in LA, I guess 2011.
Mm-hmm.
I had been working as a freelance director, directing commercials and music videos and things of that nature, and was working on a job at a retirement community in Glen Mills, Pennsylvania, and ended up walking into a nursery, plant shop,
Yeah.
cafe that was next to the nursery called Terrain. They are, at that moment, I don't think they were known to be affiliated or owned by anthropology. But if you can
Okay.
understand or think of I would say, the curation that goes into any anthropology
Yeah.
store, imagine that in some sort of plant shop
Yeah.
space. So I walked into there, and then the crew and I had dinner, I believe, at the garden cafe that they have there, which is literally inside of a greenhouse. And I was just taken by the idea of sitting in a space like that was covered in greenery, full of light. It
Mm.
had a mood that I had never felt before when it came to just
Yeah.
like dining or just like being in a space that you had done this particular thing, which was eat. Many times
Mhm.
before, I never felt that sort of way. Like I just wanted that to be my home. And I knew at
Yeah.
that moment that when I had an opportunity, and when I say opportunity, I mean like more light, more expendable, I would say
Mhm.
income, I would start bringing in plants. And it wasn't until 2014 that that moment arrived. And
Yeah.
this was a move to New Orleans where I had floor to ceiling windows, a lot of ceiling
Yeah.
height, and some time to start bringing plants in. So that's how it started.
Yeah, that's so cool. I kind of wondered, like, did you just start, did it just spiral out of control, or was it something that you saw and really like intentionally curated? So that's really cool to hear that you just, yeah, had that experience. So you obviously love plants, and I feel like maybe it's safe to say that this has been a learning process as you kind of are slowly bringing new plants and working your way up to, what is it now, 300 plus in your house?
There are 300 in my in my house.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
the carrying number, right? When I used to say I cared for over 300 plants, that's because I had
Mhm.
a studio
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
full of plants, and my home that's full of plants, and also my office that has plants. My studio, which I called Jungle by the Falls, is no longer my studio. I moved
Uh-huh.
out of that space and either sold plants that I had there, gave them away to friends who I saw had the capability of taking care of the
Mm.
plants I was giving them, gave some of my more precious items to the conservatory here in Baltimore, and then the ones that needed to come home with me had to come home with me. So in my home, in my office, I have a care for a little over 200 plants.
Yeah, still so many, but,
I
can
mean,
you just give us a
I definitely want to say that when it comes to like the number count, I hope anyone listening to this doesn't see that number count and go, I need to have 200 plants to feel good about
Yes,
myself
yeah.
or to make my space feel lush. A lot of those plants, I would say 100 of those plants are small plants.
Right,
And then
right.
maybe 50 of the 200 are medium sized plants. And then you might have 25 that are like larger plants. I mean, I live in a small space. My office isn't that large either. So we can't have
Right.
massive plants, obviously.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah, I'm
do.
glad you said that because it's, I think, encouraging if someone really is going for the look that you've kind of curated, that like jungle feel, to know that like it doesn't like you could just buy larger plants and maybe curate it a little differently than like you have.
For sure, it's not
Maybe a
about
little less.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a numbers game here. I think the
Right, 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 right.
idea that people put out there when it comes to like obviously like plant shops want you to know or want you to think the more the merrier, right? But I don't think that's necessary. And also, I think that's a way of uh, killing plants more so than
Yeah,
focusing on the ones that you have and giving them the
absolutely.
best life possible.
Yeah. So can we talk about your strategy for like choosing plants for a space? Like when you're looking at, say, a corner, maybe there's a small window, like where do you start? Where do you decide? Because I know like a lot of people are like, okay, I want it to look a certain way, so I'm going to bring in this one plant. Like, how do you actually think through it, I guess?
Well, just like you said, if you break down what the space is, right? And first, when it
Mm,
comes to plants, you want to understand what type of light is coming into that spot in the home or the office,
right.
wherever you're bringing a plant into. And once you figure out what type of light that is, and that's like directional light, whether it's western, northern, eastern facing, like whatever it is, that'll kind of dictate what type of plant. will do well in that particular area. Then you want to get a better understanding of the caretaker, I would say, of said plant, right? So you just don't want to drop any sort of plant in the hands of anyone.
Me.
In the hands of you, yes. We want to stay away from you if you're a killer of leaf things or any sort of
Yep.
plants that you need to focus in on. But at the same time, it's understanding not just like if they're. I mean, you could be a novice. You could be someone who's never had a plant before, right? But and instantly be
Yeah.
someone who can thrive at the idea of caring for plants. But it's not based on the, I would say, thumb, right? People talk about green thumb.
Yeah.
It's based on how much time and want, that you want to put into that particular thing that you're bringing into your home. So if someone
Absolutely.
has if someone has, let's say, a small window, let's give it a size, let's say it's 3 feet by 4 feet window, 4 foot window, that's a eastern facing window, and they have a spot that's, let's say, it's just going to go in the windowsill. There's a lot of options that could work well for that, but let's just also take in the fact that this person says that they're rarely home. They're rarely home. Like they often go away for work, or there's situations where they might need to just take off. You're not just going to toss in a plant, let's say a fern that needs to be watered every 3 days in that particular person's hands. You want to be mindful of the person who's caring for the plants, but you also be mindful of the plant itself, because you are dealing with a living thing, and you want to make sure that the people are going to make sure that plant gets to live its life, right? Like we're pulling
Absolutely.
greenery from plant shops, nurseries. They didn't ask to come home with you. They were living their best lives, taken care of by professionals, having great light, more than likely in a greenhouse in some cases. And then you came or you had some person, let's say myself, go and rip them away from that spot and bring them into your dark apartment or your dark corner of your home. So it's really trying to find what works best for that space plant wise, and then thinking about what type of, let's say they have, like I said, the best light possible, then what will work well for the vibe, the mood that person is trying to convey throughout their home. If it's a tropical jungle-like vibe, or is it a northwestern kind of fern-like vibe where you're now bringing in like tree ferns versus ficus? You know what I'm saying? Like it's trying to figure that out, because a lot of the foliage and color tones, palette. So yes, I think it's really trying to break down exactly what the space wants as far as the look, because obviously, like I was saying, there's different types of foliage that could work well in a particular home, especially going up against whatever the paint color is on a wall, the fabric on the couch, wherever you're placing the particular plant. It's kind of how I try to think about where, like, what works well together. So just like you would consider the color or texture of a rug next to the color texture of your couch, you kind of want to do the same thing with the foliage next to the wall or the art, or what type of planter will work well mixed in with all of that, and what does it kind of say about your home, right? Someone who has a look that is more bohemian, I don't think the bohemian vibe, like when I think about bohemian, I don't think Portland for some reason. So I don't think ferns. When I think industrial, I don't think, let's say, cacti in a way. I think more so about the larger, more, I would say, robust foliage that extends itself outward. So it all depends on the space, and I think having a keen eye for what that is can really help.
Yeah, I really love that, because I feel like a lot of listeners, obviously, we talk about interior design here a lot in DIY. And so a lot of them have become well versed in like language of design, like thinking through a space and the function.
and not like learning not to just take a Pinterest picture and try to recreate that in your space. But I think for a lot of us who are maybe intimidated by plants or maybe even just don't have experience, that same like design mindset, I feel like can be hard to translate when you're thinking about plants because you're like, okay, it needs care. So I can't think about how it looks, or it's just like a lot of listeners are drawn to plants for a certain look because there's like plant trends
For
or
sure.
plants becoming populars, which is so funny to me.
It's the hardest part for someone who actually cares, I would say, about plants.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. No,
there's
seriously
going to
though.
be so many thinking about the idea, and I say this a lot whenever I'm on my soapbox. Let's say at an event of
Yeah.
mine, I preach the idea that plants aren't props. They're
Mm,
not decor, right? They can be in your decor,
yeah.
they fit in there, but they're also living things. So you got to think about it. Once you can think about them that way, and if you're working from where I'm working, the angle, I guess, you consider that first. And a lot of individuals who come to me and ask if I can plant style their homes, it is that
Yeah.
mood board that they're bringing up. Like, I want my space to look like this, and I want that plant in
Yeah.
here like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you can't have that plant because it
Hmm.
would die in here unless I came here to take care of it every day, or we added a bunch of grow lights, and that's not the look you're looking for.
Right.
It's right. So they're looking for a particular look, but they don't have the capability to care for that plant. So
Yeah.
it doesn't work that way. I feel
Yeah.
like it's hard in this particular situation to really, it's not like picking out a paint color for someone or picking out
Yeah.
what coffee
Absolutely.
table fits best.
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I think it's more akin to, are you a dog person or you're a cat person?
Hmm.
That's more in line with what type of plant you should be deciding for an individual.
I like that a lot. And I do feel like some people maybe, well, speaking from experience, let's just start with that. I bought like a fiddly fig because I wanted the look, obviously knew nothing about plants,
How dare you?
brought it in. I know, I know. No, it totally died, like down to a stick, which I then repurposed into a craft because I honestly felt so guilty about killing
No.
it. But the learning process, I think some people come out of that saying, I'm not good at plants. And then some people like me realize, like, oh, I did this wrong. Like, this was not supposed to just sit there and look cute. Like, I needed to be more invested in like caring for it and learning about it and like trying to know what I don't know. So, do you have any advice for people that just maybe have had a similar experience and have assumed or concluded that they're bad at plants?
Wow.
Hard question.
No, it's not even a hard question. I'm just trying to figure out how to be sensitive.
Yeah.
As far as, I mean, like, I think honestly, consider what you're doing, right? Like,
Hmm.
again, like,
Yeah.
it isn't a problem. So
Yeah.
whenever you're trying to bring some life into your space, do the research beyond, I like that plant. It has a hashtag. It's popular. It looks good. I saw it in this particular Pinterest post, or I have this mood board and I'm really looking for just having that plant in my house. And I'm going to force it into that corner because once it's
Right.
in that corner and I start taking these photos, I mean, next level is where I'm headed, like that.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
That's not it. Like that's not going to be the case. I mean, look, at the end of the day, like,
Pros, find the right flooring for the job in Lowe's newly redesigned flooring showroom. Shop our expanded assortment of trusted brands and get up to 35% off style selections, Stainmaster, and Stainmaster Pet Protect Special Order Carpet. And while you're here, save $100 on the DeWalt 20-volt max 6-amp-hour 2-pack of batteries, now just $179. Get more of what you need faster and save more where it counts from the ground up. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 8/26 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
yes, we're talking about plant life in general and then killing plants. Now, is a plant life more important than a animal's life? Not even close, I wouldn't say. I mean, there's levels to it, right? But
Right.
you're definitely taking you're dealing with this living thing, so you want to be aware of that. But then at the same time,
Absolutely.
you're purchasing, plants aren't cheap right now,
Yeah, yeah.
and you're purchasing something that you want to have as an investment, right? So
Mm-hmm.
do the research up front. That plant is that you're bringing in, it isn't, again, like you're not, people aren't bad at caring for a dog or a cat, or like
Yeah.
they're not bad at that. They make decisions based on what's happening in their lives. Like someone who knows that they have a small apartment and they have carpet, or they have, let's just say they have job where they're, like I said, they're out of town every 4 days where they have to go travel. That person makes a decision that maybe they shouldn't have a dog, or they
Yeah.
shouldn't have a cat, or they just go, you know what? I live in New York and I'm not big on having to go outside 3 to 4 times a day to walk this pet. I would rather, chill out in my house when it's really cold or when it's really hot outside. People make those decisions. When someone's having a kid, they buy all the books on what to do before the kid comes. The kid doesn't show up,
Right.
and then they're like, "Oh man, we should get those books, or we
You
should
should
get those cards.
learn.
We should learn a little something." But when it comes to plants, people just buy them, and then they go, "What kind of plant is
What?
this? What did I just buy? What is it?"
Oh
And
my
look,
gosh.
and I'm not trying to. And my whole goal isn't to put people down for doing that, because if anyone read my first book, I talk about that was my journey in all of this. Like
Yeah.
I learned the hard way. Let me take all of that off of you, right? And all of that off of all of the
Right.
other plants in the world trying to live their best lives. I think you only
Mhm.
going to be as good as the work you put in up front and through the process. If you consider yourself a brown thumb, you just don't care to want. You just don't want to put the work in. You haven't decided that it's of importance to you to put the work in. Because if you wanted to say you have a green thumb, you can instantly have that tomorrow. You live in a dark apartment, go and buy all of the snake plants you possibly can. But designers or people who want to style their homes don't want to have a ton of snake plants poking out of every corner of their homes. They want monsteras and fiddly figs and all of these other beautiful types of plants and foliage that can transform a space. But while I agree, I love that look, it's not for every home. It's not for every person. They just can't care for them. So do the plants a favor and bring in what will do well in your home. And at the same time, it's, I mean, like a lot of us in this space talk about the benefits of having plants inside and how it can transform your space and bring good energy and make you feel more positive, and it makes you feel more creative, and et cetera, et cetera. And I think a lot of people don't think about the negative side of bringing too many plants in. And those are the moments where you feel like crap, when most of us do, if you have a heart. Most people feel like crap when they start to see a plant turn the other way and start to die. And when you're having that happen all the time because you haven't done the research and you haven't put in the time, and you brought in a plant that you just liked because you thought the foliage was cute, you're going to see the negative side of that, where you're like, I just wasted so much money on this plant. Why would you want that to happen? Why would you want that to be your trajectory into plant parenting? Like it's more important to start off in a way where you see the positive feedback come to you, where you see a new leaf start to develop, and that's like, I'm doing something right. Like that makes people feel better. That's the true benefit of having a plant in your home. It might change the air quality in your space. I can't really say that. I mean, NASA, they do research on stuff like that. I can't do that research. I can't tell you that it's changing the air quality in my home with all of the plants I have. I feel like it does. But that's just in my brain. I think at some point, like, it just makes me feel better to have all these plants. But I feel great seeing the process take shape, the positivity of seeing my hard work going come back to me by seeing new growth, bright green leaves, new flowering taking shape. When you go the opposite way and you're just trying to squeeze something in because you're just being selfish, and wanting to have the most popular, the trendy plant of the moment in your home, yet you don't have the light, the knowledge, the time. It's gonna it's gonna be the other way, and it's not gonna help you, and it's not gonna be good for the plant. So I say do the research first, put in the time, put in the work, and anyone having struggles will find themselves on the other end of that, where they're like, I am so good at bringing in plants. Now I'm going to bring in four more that I know I can care for because I understand what I have. And I think that's the way people should go about it. That they'll find themselves in a better position to then take care of their plants. No one's in
Yeah.
with a brown thumb. It's putting the work in and understanding exactly what will thrive in the space and the light and the time that an individual has will really make them have that sort of, I would say, it will give them the confidence. And that's kind of what you need when you're starting in plant care. So finding yourself with a plant that isn't particularly hard to care for helps. And when you're thinking about the positive benefits of having plants, one of those is definitely seeing new growth.
Yeah.
That makes someone feel good, especially when you
Absolutely.
aren't, I guess, someone who's known to, I guess,
Mhm.
care for a plant or do a great job caring for a plant. When you're seeing that new growth start to develop, it really helps you push forward and want to see more of that take place. And the negative side of not putting in the effort or not doing the research and not putting in the time uh, can really put someone in a bad place. It can make people feel bad. I myself, when I overextend myself and there's a plant not doing so well, like I don't feel good. So
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
idea that plants help make you feel more positive about life and do all these different things that are beneficial for you can take an ugly negative turn when you're seeing dead leaves or a plant fall
Yeah.
apart. Most people who,
Mhm.
like I said, have most folks that have hearts, they definitely feel it. They
Yeah.
get emotional when their plant takes a turn for the worse. And if you
Absolutely.
put in the if you put in the work, you put in the time, you do the research, you go about it before you bring a plant home, so that you know which ones will thrive in your space. Then you'll kind of alleviate that issue. You'll be able
Absolutely.
to really leave the thought that you're a bad plant person or parent, like
Mhm. Mhm.
and you'll go, you know what? It isn't me. It isn't me when it comes to the I was born this way. It's me. I didn't have the time. I wasn't focused,
Right.
and then you'll be good. Like I
Yeah.
think if everyone stopped the selfish want of bringing in what is popular or what is the next trendy plant and
Yeah.
thought about what would help them or what would help the plant that they want thrive in their space, then they would be so perfect. Like for me, like once I knew the type of plants that I love and had in my house, when I moved from New Orleans to Baltimore, my idea was to find a space that had a lot of light, that had
Right.
large windows, high ceilings, because I was coming with plants that needed that type of environment. It's
Mm.
like those who have dogs, who some like I have a pit bull, and there aren't many places that take pit bulls
Right.
if you're
Right.
renting. And I wouldn't move into a place where they were like, you can't have a pit bull here, and then say, all right, I gotta get rid of a pit bull.
Yeah. Right.
I would find a spot that would take me and I was gonna say the plant baby, the fur baby that I've come with. But no, it's just like you are now attached, you are now tied to that life. So you have to provide them with what will make them live and thrive. So
Yeah.
just like Charlie, who was my dog, like he he goes with me. He goes with me wherever I have to go, and I make sure that he can come along in that particular place, wherever it is. Like that's the only way it
Yeah.
can work.
Yeah. I feel like there's so many important, like, subtle mind shifts here. Like, first of all, thinking of plants as, like, more along the train of thought versus decor is, like, the first important shift. And then the idea that, like, you're not born that way and it's something that can be learned. I feel like that's so empowering because it's something you have control of. It's not like you're inherently good or bad at plants. Like, that'd be super sad if you're,
That
but
would
the
be
fact that you can
awful.
control it. Yeah. Yeah.
That would be awful. I think a lot of people. I mean, it's literally the idea of just wanting to push it somewhere else. You know what? I'm just bad at plants, so that's why I keep killing these plants. No,
Right,
it's not.
right.
That's not the case. Like you just didn't put in the time. Like people who and I think it's funny. I've heard someone else say this, but the idea that someone's like they really want to be fit
Mhm.
and healthy, right? And
Yeah.
just like how to be that way. You know it,
Yeah, you
right?
know it.
But
That's true.
some people are just like, I don't want to do that. I love
Yeah.
eating cereal at midnight, and I'm the one right now raising my hand because that's me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
It
it's like the best way to have muscles, right? Is to do a bunch of push-ups or curls
Yep.
or whatever. Like you do those things. Like you can get muscles tomorrow or today.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
People are like, I don't want to do that stuff. Like that's hard work. That's a lot of
Yeah,
time that I don't have to put into that. But I'll keep wanting those muscles. I'll keep wanting that six pack. There's a lot of dedication. There's a lot of commitment and sacrifice that has to be put
mhm,
in to get that, right? So
for
if you
sure.
want a green thumb, quote unquote green thumb, go and do all of the research that's necessary and think about the fact that you could be the best. You could be the best person caring for the low light, low maintenance plants ever out there. And
Mhm.
you could feel so great about that. But again, like I said, like a lot of people don't want that because it's not the look that they're going for. These aren't the
Right.
most visually pleasing,
Mhm.
visually double tap worthy
Yeah,
foliage of plants that you can bring into your home. So I'll leave it at that. I think
yeah.
that I
I
know where
like
I'm
that.
headed.
So for, like, some more practical recommendations in terms of someone that's like, "Okay, I've come to terms with the fact that I need to put in the work," what kind of plant should I start out with? Obviously, it depends on the space, but do you have some, like, recommendations of those easier to care for plants that you could give?
Yeah, for sure. I think everyone is has the capability of caring for a snake plant.
Mhm.
While there are ways to kill snake plants, they're known to be the most low maintenance plants out there. And the
Yeah.
reason why is because you can get away with not watering them for such a long time. And when I say a long time, 3 weeks.
Mhm.
You can stretch out for 3 weeks. Most of them, you just don't want to overwater them, and that's where people tend to care. And at the same time, I think that's how people end up killing a lot of their plants is
Right.
because of overwatering. That's the first thing. So snake plants, you just want to think of them as like a desert plant. They're not getting a ton
Mhm.
of water in the desert, so think about them like that, and they can manage, I would say, low light situations. So first, any type of snake plant is probably a good bet. A ZZ plant is one of those plants that I feel like is so underrated. It's such a beautiful plant. It grows in this
Yeah.
really wild way and
Mhm.
also is on the don't water me for a couple weeks. And when you do water me, just give me a little bit just to, wet my whistle. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
there's variety of pothos, which are these vine plants that can cascade down walls or staircases, bookshelves, and they come in different, I would say, looks when it comes to foliage and shapes when it comes to foliage. A lot of that is based on light as well. The more light they get, the bigger their foliage is going to be is in that
Yeah.
case. But I would say if they stick with those plants, I mean, there's the ponytail palm that does really well for low maintenance, medium, low light situations. if people stick in that range, they'll be good. If they have a lot of light and they want to test out their thumbs a bit, going with the rubber tree
Mhm.
can't hurt. They don't. They're not. I mean, it's a ficus, but it's not as finicky as like a fiddle leaf fig. You'll
Yeah.
find yourselves being more excited by how quickly you're seeing new growth with the rubber tree.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's really awesome. And and you need that positive feedback when you're bringing in a plant. I would also say if you want positivity first, buy plants in spring because that's spring and summer's
Mhm.
growth season. So you're going to see how the plant is growing rapidly during that time, which could again bring that extra pat on the back that you might need. But
Mhm.
once you go through those months, the true test of your skill will happen once fall and winter hit.
Right.
So that's when you'll have to, get a bit more aware or do more research, read up on what you might need to do with these particular plants, because maybe you need to then move them into different areas where it's not as dark, or you might need to pull them away from that window that might be getting a draft, things of that nature when it comes to these low maintenance
Yeah.
plants. But at the same time, I think there are many plants that can do well if you're just starting off. It's just really doing the upfront research
Yeah.
regardless. Like, that's it. Like, I don't see like when we're talking about novice plant parenting, or people who just aren't aware of what type of like starter kit type plants, right? Like, I
Mm.
think any plant can be that if you do the the legwork up front. Like I
Mm.
said about the snake
Mhm.
plant, like people say that's a very low maintenance. It's called like the still plant. Like, it's so hard to kill, but you can kill it because someone might just buy it and go, okay, cool. This plant is hard to kill. I'm gonna water it like
Every day.
every day or every week, like I heard
Yeah.
plants need. And that is gonna instantly kill that plant. They're gonna go,
Yeah.
what did I do
Yeah.
wrong? I did everything I thought it would. I gave it everything I thought it would need. And it's like, no. Like, I
Mhm.
put this plant in like in my window, and it got such great light. Like, it was getting all of this light. Like, why is it dying? It's like, because that plant, while it is a plant and plants need light, doesn't like that Western afternoon light blasting on it all day through your window. It doesn't react the same as if when you see them out in the wild. It's not
Right.
the
Right.
same thing, and those are the small nuances of knowledge that is necessary when you're dealing with bringing in life. So that's when I say, like, it isn't easy to just suggest a hard to kill plant to someone,
Right. Right.
because
Absolutely.
I don't believe that, like, you can just say a plant is hard to kill
Mhm.
because everyone's killed every single type of plant. So,
Oh, yeah.
so it's like it's just, at the end of the day, those plants that I just mentioned will hold on longer for
Be
sure.
more patient with
Yeah,
you.
yeah, exactly. But you still want to do the upfront work.
Yeah. So do you have, like, a favorite plant that's not super popular but is, like, low key amazing?
Good question. Not
I don't
That's
know how
not
you'd
super.
pick, but
Yeah, I'm like, you're not super popular, but I mean, like, I guess I would still lean towards the ZZ. I think the ZZ
Yeah.
really does some wild things when it's just growing crazy, or like size wise, it can be placed in so many different places,
Mhm.
depending on the size. But when you have them and they're really large, they look really cool. When you have them when they're really small, they look really cool. But honestly, I'm a huge fan of the tree philodendron. When we're talking about popularity, it's not one of those like it has a hashtag, or you don't
Yeah.
see it a lot on on social, but you'll see them growing in the wild, like in LA, like in someone's yard, and no one really cares.
Yeah.
But when I see it, I'm always like, man, I wish I had like, I wish I could just walk around the city and just look at this plant just growing. Like, it's just one of those
Yeah,
tropical
yeah.
plants that if you go anywhere, like if you go to Costa Rica, or if you go to Tulum, it's just growing
Yeah,
out of
that's so
someone
cool.
the side of someone's house, and you're like, oh, you guys are so lucky. It's just such a beautiful, like, canopy type plant. It's like, I guess in the philodendron space, any plant that wants to climb up something, I'm a big fan of. I like the idea
Mhm.
that they have this want to just take over and wrap themselves around things and climb. I think that's really
Yeah,
cool.
it's so cool. So let's dive into styling plants a little more because I was really going to touch on that next, the climbing thing. So, because obviously you're amazing at styling plants, you have so much to share, but I also think it's like such an art in the sense that you're styling like things that are so dynamic. So you can't just set them down and ignore them for months like decor. You really have to be involved and like rearrange or, all that kinds of stuff. So, how do you design like a plant grouping from scratch in terms of like what looks good with what? I know you have some strategies for like what needs watered when, but how do
Yeah,
you
for
like,
sure.
yeah, group them?
For me, I think again, trying to find care plants. So you wouldn't want to mix in some cacti with some ferns, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna find yourself missing a watering somewhere because they're not like need I would say plants. I think I like to create little groupings based on the type of plants that they are.
Yeah.
So a lot of the ficus, a lot of the every 7 day watering plants, I put them in the same sort of area so that I know that when let's just say I left my plants in the care of a plant sitter, like it's easier to handle that job. But at the same time, you want to think about what type of foliage or what type of plant you're dealing with when it comes to the hangover aspect of that particular
Mm.
plant. So you don't want to put a plant that will, once it grows large or whenever you bring it in, will hang over another plant and block that particular light that's coming in.
Pros, find the right flooring for the job in Lowe's newly redesigned flooring showroom. Shop our expanded assortment of trusted brands and get up to 35% off style selections, Stainmaster, and Stainmaster Pet Protect Special Order Carpet. And while you're here, save $100 on a DeWalt 20-volt max 6-amp-hour 2-pack of batteries. Now just $179. Get more of what you need faster and save more where it counts from the ground up. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 8/26 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
So I try to
Yeah.
always think
Okay.
about what's happening in the foreground and background. So when you're grouping plants together, it's based on size, so almost on like a tier of sorts. So smaller up
Mhm.
front, medium, then larger, but making it so that you have a way of allowing light to come in and kissing every single plant that you have. It can't
Yeah.
just it, you. I try to tell people never place a small plant behind a large plant where you can't see it. Never put a plant in a space that you would find yourself second guessing whether or not you feel the if you have enough energy at that moment to care for it. Like to
Mm.
is it do I feel up to pulling out the ladder and going up there to grab that plant to
Yeah.
water it?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
never do something like that to yourself. Or if you have to move a couch every time to get to a plant that's behind it, like
Yeah, yeah.
think about those things. But if it's something where you feel like it just transforms the space and that look is what you're going for, know that you're now putting yourself in a position where you'll then have to do that extra work, which is for
Right,
me
right.
is fine. Like I have plenty of hanging plants that I have to pull the ladder out and climb up and down, bring the plant to the sink, water it, let it drain out, then take it back. Like
Mm.
I'm fine. I'm down for that because I like that look. I like the way having plants low on the floor, medium and windowsills, and high above makes my space feel because it kind of is what is in nature, right? Like
Right,
plants
right.
are on every level. So when you're thinking about grouping or just styling in general, it's creating those levels. It's creating those
Mm.
tiers. So if you have to do a small, I would say, pedestal that can pull a plant off the floor, you're trying to think about at the same time. For me, it's like not only raising a plant a bit off the floor, but what type of pedestal is going to also fit into that look? What type of
Yeah.
pedestal works well with the planter that I have? Then from
Mm.
that I would say, angle, then what does that pedestal and the planter and that plant, how does that work next to the next larger planter that's behind it? So it's like you said, you have to have some sort of eye for detail, but
Hmm.
also understand the types of plants that are going to be next to each other, because
Yeah.
there's a look that the types of foliage and color and shape, how they work well together is, for me, like, it's really hard for me to give someone the, I would say, blueprint on how to do
Right.
that, because you
Yeah.
kind of have to just know it. It's like, does a fiddle leaf fig leaf look good budded right next to a variegated rubber tree? Does that look
Hmm.
good? Does that work? Do those shapes and textures work well together? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So it's kind of like when people are putting together their swatches or finding looks that work well together and they put them on top of each other. Like, for me, like, that's kind of how I have to see a plant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And understand that, but at the same time, they will always be first, like care plants. Like,
Mm.
I know that this grouping of plants, they all are going to be watered on the every Friday.
Yeah.
All these plants need to be. I'm not just going to tuck a fern in the middle of a grouping of plants that need to be watered every 7 days, because I know for a fact that plant will get lost and it'll end up dying because I forgot that I put a lemon fern in this on the side of this tree philodendron or this council tree. Like, I spaced out and I put the
Yeah.
wrong plant
Yeah.
in this area. So I think people need to start there and then think about the the dress, the base,
Hmm.
the planter is what they call it, because that itself is what the styling part of all of it's about. I think having a plant's cool, but it doesn't take your space to the next level until you get the planter right.
Yeah, so true. So I really like that because I like that it's like the perfect blend, which all good design is, of like function and art. Like placing your plants obviously has to be functional, light, and what they need for care, but then it is like that art component where you almost can't even put it into words. Like you look at it and you know that it's right or it's not.
Yeah.
So for people that maybe don't know how to like match up the leaves and don't know what looks right, that's why like I'm so excited about your books because they're so visual and I feel like it gives people endless pictures of like here's this plant next to this one and now like here's this look and so they can kind of like
Yeah,
explore the aesthetics too.
I think that, for me, like, the idea behind all of that is the hope to inspire or to give, like, almost in a way, like you're saying, like, that blueprint of this works well together right now, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you can
Mhm.
duplicate that in your home again if you have the right light. But it for me, it's all, like, how do you put out content in a way that can guide someone in the right direction of what could work well in their space?
Right,
And
right.
I think for this new book, Wild Interiors, for me, it was so eye opening to walk into these people's homes and
Mm.
see where they took their design and how they would work foliage and greenery next to each other, and decisions that they were making when it came to statement plants. Like, what would be the thing
Yeah.
that when I walked into their space, I would just jaw drop to the floor and go,
Yeah.
wow, that has completely transformed your space. And I
Yeah.
think for me, that's why I feel, and I will keep saying this, I think Wild Interiors is such a better book than my first book, which I'm actually
Mhm.
happy about. Thank God.
Yeah.
But and it might just be because I know my space, I know my story, being able to talk about other people's stories and their journeys, right? I think
Yeah.
there's so much more inspiration. Like,
Absolutely.
I get inspired by seeing it still, and I think that that's the thing that helps those who are new or dabbling a bit in bringing plants into spaces, that
Yeah.
it's going to be dependent on the individual and the type of eye that they have. If they can
Right.
understand what the plant needs care wise, then it's just going to be the eye of the designer and the creative that is bringing the plants in. Like, what will work well? What
Right.
will
Right.
transform this space? Are we just talking about quantity, or are we talking
Mm-hmm.
about quality of what the look of those plants are, and how one leaf from one plant looks when it curls itself around the branch or the leaf of another plant, and
For
how those
sure.
two things tie together. And if we're talking about trying to make a space sing all together, like there's particular types of foliage that some people might want to work with. Like one of the couples in my book who are friends of mine, Whitney Lee Morris, her space has a certain color palette. There's a
Yeah.
lot of browns, tans, whites, and then all of her plants all seem to have the same sort of palette as well. They were all
Yeah.
variegated of sorts
Mm.
in that respect. So a lot of creams
Mm.
and light greens and greens, like darker greens mixed together. And that was the foliage of the indoor plants. And that itself is a decision being made, right?
Yeah. For
So
sure.
so there are particular plants that if you again, it all starts with the light and it all starts with the care of these plants. But if you're able to do that, then you can start making even bigger decisions. Like I would love the way a variegated rubber tree looks because it has those pink and green and cream hues. And
Mm.
now that works well with the pillows or the fabric that I have in my couch. I'm gonna continue that throughout my greenery. I want only that color palette in my greenery. And there's so many plants that have that
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
trial
Absolutely.
meshed look. And then you can do that. And that's when you're making like real decisions. Like
Right.
just like
Right.
you would when you're like, I want all of the dining chairs around my table to be different. And I want them to
Mm.
say something. And you're now going on this search of all the thrift shops and flea markets to try to pick out the right little details that work for that particular dining table, that dining set. That's
Yeah.
when the plant styling part gets really fun. Now, do I get to make those decisions and a lot of the work I do? No, because right now, like there aren't many people wanting to go that in depth, I would say, with the choices being made for their plants. But
Right.
when I do get to meet some of the people who are doing that for themselves, that's when I like I don't know, like it's like going into a museum and just looking at a really awesome piece of art. Like
Mm.
you
Mm-hmm.
you are fully inspired and you want to go home and make those decisions in your space. And I think
Yeah.
that's the part of plant styling and design and decor and in general. Like I feel like we're at now where we're making real
Right. Right.
decisions on every last aspect of our home.
Which is so, so cool. And I know that's something our listeners are going to be so interested in because they're already like so passionate about design and paint colors and all that. So adding like this living element that's so rewarding in so many other ways aside from just aesthetics, but then having it be able to be part of that design process is like so cool.
For sure. And I know, and I want to say
Yeah.
real quick, I know that a lot of individuals, and I hear this a lot, they'll go to plant shops or obviously if they try to shop at a hardware store, they're not going to have as many options. But if they go to their local nursery,
Mm.
if whatever they have there isn't probably for the most part isn't the end all be all, there you can ask them to order particular plants that you
Oh,
might
cool.
want. So just be aware of that as well. Like if there's something that you've seen, again, understanding that you're going to do the research to know that
Mhm.
it'll work in your home, but you can have them order it for you if that's what you're looking for and you're like excited to care for.
Yeah.
Definitely reach out to those shops, those nurseries in your home state or your city, because they can probably order it for you.
Yeah. Okay, well, I have one more design question, and then I want to dive harder into your new book because I have more questions about that. But
Sure.
something I think that you've mastered that's really like integrating plants into the space and helping them look fully a part of the room. I'm specifically thinking of like the climbing plants that you have that are like touching things in the room and climbing around the room. And then your use of mirrors is also really interesting. Can we talk about each of those strategies a little bit?
Sure. I think, again, it is the really quick. I think I say again a lot on the podcast.
I
I
say yeah
apologize.
the whole time.
I
So.
apologize. I just realized that. I was like, why did I keep saying that? So the idea of being able to bring the outdoors in, that look
Mhm.
in, when we go all the way back to how I fell deeply in love with the idea of plants in my home, or being able to do what I normally do in my indoor space surrounded by plants, like dining in that
Yeah.
cafe, that to me was someone taking the jungle and
Yeah.
bringing it into their home. And what I think about when I'm in those particular tropical environments, how plants naturally weave themselves or climb up trees or climb up the side of a structure or whatever it is, that's the bringing the outside in that we're also talking about. So
Mm.
make your silver pothos climb up your brick wall or the side of your bookcase, because now
Yeah.
it's almost as if green life is taking over your space. So for me, it's how do you, some people like, and I love this as well, is you get a bit, I guess, what is it, elaborate. You bring
Mm.
in the what is it? What I'm trying to say is, when you're thinking about paint, you're painting a wall,
Yeah.
and you're thinking, I don't just want to have my wall be a flat color. I want to bring some depth to this wall. I'm going to give it a
Mm.
bit of texture, however that texture is, or I want to do some sort of pattern. There's these decisions that you're thinking about. I think about how if you just had a blank, flat colored painted wall, now you want to just add living life crawling its way around the wall. That
Mhm.
now takes that particular angle of your room or that wall to a different level, other than what it would have been if it was just a flat painted wall with art on it, right? Like now there's living
Right,
art
right,
moving throughout your space, and that's not normal. That's
right,
that's
right.
that's for that's normally for abandoned buildings or
Mhm.
the exterior facade of a home, right? So that idea of bringing the outdoors in is now instant. When someone
Mm.
walks into your home, that is like, whoa, plants are taking over your house.
Yeah,
That's pretty
like,
cool.
not even just adding dimension, but, like, adding a whole 'nother level of, like, breathing actual life into your space is what's so
Exactly.
cool. Yeah, I love that. So,
Exactly. And
for
when it
your
comes, yeah, I was gonna say something. Oh, no, no,
oh,
go ahead, go ahead.
go ahead.
No, no, you
No, no,
go.
you go ahead. I was gonna skip to the
No,
next thing. You
no,
keep
no,
going.
no, you can no, I was well, you were you were asking about mirrors, and I think it's important to just talk about that really quickly,
Yeah,
just
totally.
based on the idea that if you find that your space has pockets of darkness, nice to bring in larger mirrors to reflect light back into those darker areas if you can. If a
Mhm.
window is facing a way where it, let's say, light shines into a spot in your home at a certain time of day, and you're like, oh, if I had a mirror here, it could reflect light back. I like being able to do that, to reflect light from one side of the room to another, just to amplify the level of light that's in a space. And I think it
Yeah.
also, it makes darker holes or just areas in your rooms, that it creates other windows in a way. Like it's
Right,
reflecting back
right.
a bunch of light and that extra dimension that you were talking about before, and it just helps make a space more alive. And it just takes a bit of, I would say, like a dead space, and makes it just like I just said, like it
Mm.
just turns it into a more livable area, reflects more light, and just makes it feel a bit better.
Yeah, so is that, like, purely aesthetic, or is that actually helping the plants get more light as well?
Oh, it's definitely helping the plants get more light. if you're reflecting any light into a space, it's if it's if where your mirrors are is actually is being hit by light by sun and it's
Mm-hmm.
reflecting back into your room, yes, it's definitely helping out those
Ooh,
plants
cool
that are
trick.
receiving that reflected light for
Yeah,
sure.
so theoretically, you could put a plant in a darker area and have it be fine, because if you have a big enough mirror, big enough window, it could be getting light. That is
For
so cool.
sure. For sure.
So, I wanna dive into your second book a little bit because I'm personally just really excited because I feel like your first book really reframed a lot of things for me, like, a lot of what I thought I knew about plants and really just helped me, like, reshape my plant parenting strategy, but for your second book, can you talk about, like, the process? Like, because it is a collection of spaces that aren't yours that you're kind of guiding people through. Is this, like, just spaces that have inspired you? Like, how did you find them, and what was that process like?
How did I find the people who are in the book? Is that what you're
Yeah,
asking?
yeah, all the different spaces.
All the different spaces. So the process, again, like I was, oh God, the process was really wanting to hear the stories, the journeys of others.
Yeah.
In the during my book tour for Wild at Home, there were times where I would talk to some of the attendees, the guests, people who are in the plant community, I would say, and they would start to talk to me about what they had gone through and how they started. And I just thought that that was just such an interesting idea, like just to
Mm,
find my way around the country and then even go outside of the country to talk to
yeah,
people who are like-minded and hearing what they went through and how it affects them, not just in their home and what they're doing. Like, how does it affect how they go about doing their jobs? Like, do they
right.
find that it like what they're doing when it comes to plants and bringing plants in is based on what they do in their professional life, or has the plants that they brought in changed in any way of their professional life?
Mm,
I just thought it was really
mhm,
important to talk more about that because so many people have the same journeys that I've had, my wife has had, and I
mhm.
wanted to hear more about that. And I thought, if I want to hear about it, I'm sure a lot of people want to
Yeah,
hear
for
about
sure.
that because you can become inspired by it. When it comes to finding these folks, there were either folks that individuals or couples or spaces that I had seen online or my publishers had seen or friends of mine who I've had known for a while and wanted to hear their or get their stories because I've already heard some of their stories, but to get their
Mm,
stories in print because I thought that it was necessary for people to hear how they went about creating their spaces. And a few of them were actually friends of friends. People are like, "Oh, I
yeah.
hear you're working on this book. I have a friend
Uh-huh.
that has a lot of plants. You should see them." But here's the thing, because my passion isn't just plants in a space, it's design of said
Yeah.
space as well. That a lot of the reasons I ended up in the particular spaces I did was because not only did they have uh, a great story behind why they brought in a lot of plants, or a great story why they had minimal plants in their space,
Mhm,
but they had a
mhm.
space that was really well designed. They have a thought process behind everything that they're doing in their
Yeah,
space, and to
that's so cool.
and to me, that's very important, and that's something that I think a lot of us creatives,
Mm,
people who love
mhm.
plants, people who love design are thinking about. And I wanted to share that aspect. I wasn't thinking like I need to go find someone who just has a lot of plants. Like
Right,
to me,
right,
that doesn't get me excited. That doesn't make me vibrate. Like seeing like
right,
the
right.
way someone has pushed a plant. Someone took this really awesome cement table and then put this crazy tree fern on the top of it,
Mhm.
and they're going to eat around it. Sign me up. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
done. I'm done. Sign me up.
Love
That
that.
is what I'm looking for. And that, like it isn't just like shove a bunch of plants in the corner and like, hey, you should go see that. Like that doesn't inspire me.
It's
Right,
the
right.
decisions people are making. Again, like the small nuances, the changes between you can do with what is available in Berlin versus what is available in Venice, California, because there's different types of climates, obviously, daylight,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
what you grew up around, like surrounded by, and those inspirations, as you grow up. Like that's
Mm,
why I want to talk to someone about like how they grew up. Like, did you grow up with
right.
plants in the home? Like, was your parents painters? Like, how
Yeah,
why
yeah.
are you so adamant about color of the planter itself? Like, why are there so,
Right,
so
right.
many pops of color? So that was what was important for Wild Interiors. Like, it needed to really showcase all different types of individuals. So not only
Mm,
were we needed to find people who had really wild, I would say, design and design in general, but also
mm,
plants, a lot of plants, not a lot of plants, but also talk to touch on different, I would say, types of, I would say, design or thoughts behind plants. Like someone who is the
yeah,
minimalist, someone who is the person who blurs the line between indoor and outdoor because they're allowed to open their doors all the time and they have
right.
this really
Yeah.
nice courtyard, or someone who's stuck in a really small apartment that's kind of dark, and how they utilize that space to
Mm,
really still be creative and bold and stylish. Like I feel like it was important to tell different types of stories, not just the
yeah.
same one over and over again.
Absolutely. That's so beautiful because then everyone can maybe find a piece of themselves in it and it can kind of help. There's no like guilt or hold back versus like, that's not my plant journey. I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could care for 200 plants, but like maybe someone sees the minimalist route and like, that's for me. Like, there it is. So I think it's so cool that there's such a range of stories. And then just, yeah, the thought of like design being such like there's such depth to that because I think you could shove a ton of plants in a room. Like you can achieve that look with fake plants, right? Like if you have to not think about climate and not think about watering, like you could buy all these fake plants and get that same look. But then that's not what's fun. Like the fun part is all the constraints you have of like, how can I work within what I have and like make it amazing? Like that's real design. It's not like unlimited. It's like
Yeah,
taking those limits and pushing them in creative ways, I feel like.
I love that. Exactly. I
Yeah.
love it.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for this book. You just got me so excited. Uh,
Awesome.
Perfect. So where can everyone connect with you online? Oh wait, you do have it's out for pre-order. We have to say this. Pre-order and people can order signed copies, correct?
People
Right
can
now?
order signed copies right now from my site, thingsbyhc.com, or they can pre-order from Amazon, Barnes and Noble, maybe other places. I'm not sure. I know that those are the places that people definitely pre-order from. But
Right, right.
it comes out April 7th worldwide.
Mhm.
So wherever books are sold, if you have local plant shops or bookstores that you want to carry the book, have them reach out to myself or my publisher to bring that book in. Definitely believe in trying to support as many local bookstores as possible, especially
Mm.
plant shops as possible,
Yeah.
especially now, right? So
Right. Right.
if you can purchase them from there, that'd be great. I hope, obviously, with the virus hitting the world, a
Mhm.
lot of things have been canceled. So my book tour has been basically canceled at this point
Yeah.
and
Right.
will be pushed until things clear up, right? So I hope to see as many of these folks as possible once the tour happens, because I mean, I'm not going to put it out there like that, but
Right.
more than
Right. Right.
likely
Right.
I will have another stab at making a book that
Mhm.
is about following people's journeys and styling and plants. And I would like to meet some of the people that possibly could fit in the next book I make. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I hope to do that this late summer and maybe fall.
Yeah. That's what is so cool though, because I think I originally found you through Paige, who runs a plant store in Denver, which I think you did your last book tour at, which I missed, but just like I kind of like watched from the outside this community happening. And that's something else that's just so interesting is like there's a whole community around plants. So if people are new to that, like that's where you find support, and that's a way you can learn, like not only Googling things, which I've learned is not the best approach, but like finding people that know and like learning from them is like next level amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think
Yeah.
I'm well, I don't know. Like I definitely feel like the process of making this new book and meeting the people, going to these places,
Yeah.
I hope that I did them and their spaces justice, because there
Mm.
were moments where I walked into people's homes and, like I said, like jaw dropped. It was just like,
Mm.
there's no way I'm gonna leave here being able to bottle up in an image what this feels
Right.
like. And
Yeah.
that part just made me sad, because
Yeah.
I knew for a fact that the image is an image, but seeing it, feeling it, being inside of some of these spaces were just like, oh, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave here. You're gonna have to kick me out of your
Can I
house.
live here? Thank you.
Exactly. Can I live here with you? I'll tell my wife. I'll go, I'll get 2 cats. Can we all go? So yeah, it's like I if anything, if I'm making another book for, it's all because of selfish reasons, just to go
Mhm.
back into people's homes and feel
Yeah.
inspired as I was the first time around. So yeah,
I love that. That's so cool. So everyone go pre-order the book. And if you don't have the first one, really, that's where you should start. Especially if you have dubbed yourself a failed plant parent, speaking from experience, you can you can learn. And yeah, just really, really would encourage you to do that. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm so, so glad to
of
have you
course.
on.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And yeah, like if there's ever a question whether or not plants are decor, it's
No.
no, plants are not props. They're living things, but they can definitely transform a space without a doubt.
Yeah. I love that. If we've settled one thing, it's that plants are not decor. There's so much more to them, and it's up to you to figure out what that means for your space, but
Ooh, I love it. I'm gonna use that
love
quote.
that. You should.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.